Hey, Shalom, we going right in. This is Ezekiel 12 verse 28 NLT. Therefore, tell them, this is what the sovereign Lord, whose name is Yahweh, and his son name is Yahweh Shah, says. No more delay. I will now do everything I have threatened. I, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, have spoken, giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakahak Wadash. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. A sincere Shalom Labakaryam Shah Yash Allah. That's peace to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. Time is short, time is short, time is short. Now, you got something that popped off today. You know, they was talking about this for a while. This real ID, you know, and this is causing a mess down here. I'm in Jersey, and they got this situation with the Newark Airport. It's the major airport, you know. Newark Airport is so big and so much traffic passed through Newark Airport. You know, they got traffic control in Philadelphia just to help out with Newark, and all that's in shambles right now. Then on top of that, they hit Newark today, as well as the rest of the country, but they're focusing on New Jersey, as I'm gonna show you in this video, with this real ID. You know, now this real ID, you know, you gotta think about it. Real ID, RFID, ID, identification, identify. Well, let's just read the definition. This is the etymology on identify. To identify is sameness, oneself, state of being the same. Now, mind you, yesterday, you got people that were allowed on the airplane. You sitting next to somebody in seat A or seat B. You're not worrying about if this person is a criminal, if this person's supposed to be on this airplane or not. Just like when you get on a bus. Some people do ride sharing with Uber, which is very dangerous, you know, but people are doing that. You're not worrying about who you're getting in the car with. Now they're going to start this division. And one scripture come to mind, which we're going to go into. They're going to start this division to where you ain't going to be able to trust your neighbor, because they're going to make it so what's the word? I'm a little lost for words right here, but it's going to be difficult to fly and travel in the near future without proving your ID, meaning, are you who you say you are? So this is going to turn Egyptian against Egyptian. You know, we see all roads lead down to the MOTB. If you're new to this channel or any channel, you know, we're affiliates of Saints of Jersey here. We're affiliates of Great Millstone. Okay, if you go on any Great Millstone GMS channel, punch in MOTB and catch up and find out fast what's going on, which is the mark of the beast. There's breakdowns all over the place. You can go on this channel, punching in. Also, all roads are leading to this device. And without this device, you won't be able to move around America soon, just like they're showing you with this real ID. Meaning proving, because right now you can walk down the street, no one is going to doubt you are who you say you are. But now with them bringing in this system, and this system with this real ID started back after 9/11, as you're going to see in this video. So they had this thing waiting for a minute. Now they're laying everything out. Now, because of 9/11, because of what's going on in the world, these are excuses for everybody to be suspect of your neighbor. For everybody to be more untrustworthy with each other, which is bringing, so many prophecies to pass. But let me just read up a little bit. This is it's called the Real ID Act. The Real ID Act of 2005. Okay, so this was laid out. Now, mind you, they had this laid out before 9/11, but they decided to throw this on the table about what 4 years after 9/11 happened. Okay, so the Real ID Act of 2005 is an act of Congress that established requirements that driver's license and identification cards used by U.S. states and territories must satisfy to be accepted for accessing federal government, hold on, let me get more, federal government facilities, nuclear power plants, and for boarding airline flights in the United States. Now, you go back to 2025, no one was thinking about this. This came under that package that everybody about to get hit with, that Patriot Act. No one cared about that package. No one cared about the threat on T-ism at that time. But now they got it by law. They can roll all these things out. And this is a master plan of the elites to get the ball rolling on this radio frequency identification device that they about to implant around the world within people. Because this Real ID is just put a halt to travel. Already travel in New Jersey is hectic because of what's going on with the TSA workers. But you add this in the mix. On some people, they don't even, this is their first time hearing they needed to travel with the Real ID. And they're requiring you to go to motor vehicles in person, stand in line to get this star that's going to be on the side of your driver's license that says you are who you say you are. Now, they saying if you don't have this star on your driver's license, you can board if you got passports, this, that, all kind of paperwork that a lot of these, flyers don't have. They know this. And a lot of them don't have a passport. But it's quickly going to go from you need a passport to it's mandatory to fly, to travel without this Real ID. There's something else, some type of black swan event going to happen on top of this. That's going to make it even hard to move without this new RFID, aka MOTB system in play. So we see where this is going. It says, can you fly without the Real ID after May 7th? Unless we can't verify your identity, you're going to be able to fly for now. But you're going to have your passport with you. They're making it tight. Just like that 6-point system at motor vehicles. You know, you get down to the motor vehicle, they tell you about, oh, you need this, you need that. I mean, run back home and get some more paperwork. And then you come down and they say, oh, this is only worth 1 point, or this is worth 2.5 points. You got to run back it. What do you think is going to happen at these airports, man? The confusion that they're starting to bring in this new system is something else. He said after years of delays, because they were saving it for now, and deadline extensions, the Real ID requirement officially took effect May 7th. This came out 52 minutes ago. Okay, so now this thing is on the scene. So they're going to make it tight to move around. So do be aware that the Lord is about to bring all these words to pass. This is 2nd Esdras 15 verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city. Now, this word desire, let's look up this word desire real fast. Because it say a man shall desire. That means desire is a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. So, you might be an entrepreneur. You make your money going from state to state. This is how you make your money. You fly around the country. You have a family over here. You got to, this is going to affect sports players. It's going to affect lawyers, judges. All kind of people move around with the airliners. They treat it like it's a car. So your desire, that strong feeling of, I got to get over here or else I'm going to lose my client. I got to get over here or I'm going to lose my job or I'm going to lose this bag, whatever. You might leave the country. People do this all the time. They go in and out the country like nothing. So this is going to cause a lot of conflict, which is going to force them, whether you want to do it or not, you're going to have to show up. Shit, I haven't been in motor vehicle in years because how we renew our license now is online. So can you imagine the lines at the DMV? You can imagine the confusion they about to start. So that's the desire. Let me see something here. Desire. So a man shall desire, to wish, to want, to fantasize, right? An impulse, a craving, a hunger, a thirst to move. And this is that they're forcing your back against the wall. So what do you think they're going to do with this digital device? If your desire to move around now, you're going to see the lines in this video, man. People had to jump into the DMV line. The line stretched around 2 corners just to get this star. And you got to have all these points to get the star on your license just for you to fly. Yeah, so we here. Desire. Okay, that a burning, a itching, a burning need. So it says, a man shall desire, wish, lust after. I gotta have it. I gotta go. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. My school is in this state. I'm over here. This is the confusion that these Babylonians, aka Americans, are in. This is why they're gonna take this digital device, because of their desire, man. It says a man shall desire to go into a city. I gotta move around. That's how I make my money. They're gonna have no choice but to comply with the system, man. It says, and shall not be able. Why? Because requirements, just like you're gonna see now. You're not gonna be able to move without this real ID. Okay, it says, unless we can't verify your identity, you're gonna be able to go, right? He said, after years of delays and deadline extensions, the real ID requirement officially took place today. It says, to obtain a real ID in Minnesota, you'll need 1 document providing your identity, date of birth, and legal presence in the United States, and 2 documents providing your current Minnesota residency. So it's going to be based on state to state. That's Minnesota. You know, I heard right now in New Jersey, 1 second, let me see, real ID New Jersey. It says, in New Jersey, a real ID will be required for domestic flights and access to federal facilities starting May 7, 2025, while not mandatory for driving. You know they're going to make this mandatory for driving. Because it say a man shall desire to move around, to go into this city, that city. Hey, they stop you. We don't want, I got my driver's license. We don't want to see that. Where's your real ID? And this is going to bring forth that MOTB. You won't be able to buy or sell. You won't be able to function in their new system without this chip in your hand or in your head, man. This is a prelude to what's about to happen. It says, while not mandatory for driving, a standard New Jersey driver's license will no longer be sufficient for these purposes. 2 proofs of New Jersey residence, for example, including a bank statement, receipt, 1 proof, so on and so forth. Hold on. Let me see something here. New Jersey, because they were saying, this says, what do I need to get a real ID in New Jersey? To obtain a real ID in New Jersey, you'll need 2 proofs of residency, social security number, and 6 points of identification. The New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission website provides, boom, boom, boom. Here's a motor vehicle detailed breakdown, proof of residency, address. Now, it's something I'm looking for. It said, what happens if I don't have real ID by 2025, May 2025? If you don't have a real ID by the deadline and you're planning to board a domestic flight, you will need to bring your passport, which a lot of people don't have, and another TSA approved form of identifications when you travel. And you just see what happened with the TSA over here in Newark, New Jersey, man. So they putting people back against the wall. Let me see here. It says, what real ID become? It says, when did real ID become mandatory? Boom, boom, boom. It says immigration provision. Okay, we can get into this video. But I'm gonna finish out this scripture here. This is coming. This is a 2 Esdras 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's see, all this is gonna make sense, man. The 15-minute cities. Why you able to travel 15 minutes? shit, 15 minutes, you ain't going nowhere. It take damn near an hour to walk at a 20 pace step around Wheatway Park. That takes about an hour. That's about 2.5 miles. So imagine your movements are limited to 15-minute cities, man. Why? Because you don't have the proper documentation. You didn't take the RFID chip. You don't have permission. Access denied to the system. This is where we going. And these people, these Babylonians, these citizens, they don't see it. So we bless Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, that he's gifted us with the eye salve. He released us. That's why the Lord said, you should know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. In the mind and through the spirit, we've been released. Now we praying for the Lord to deliver the rest of our body through Jacob's trouble, man. Because this is going to bring a lot of trouble. So a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of trouble. It's going to be some pushback from this. It says, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And that fear, man, oh boy, is it coming. So let me get to this video here. This is just a news clip. 1 second, let me see if it's okay. It's up here. It's locked for the commercials. 1 second here. Okay.
Take a look. This is a view from one of the many airports where we do have cameras here as travelers who have not obtained a real ID by today's deadline received some assurance from the head of Homeland Security that they would still be able to fly after some additional identity checks. Secretary Kristi Noem made the statement as people waited in long
for this. I'm trying to get better.
Buildings nationwide Tuesday, trying to update their IDs before the long-delayed deadline. Noem says security checkpoints will also accept passports and tribal identification. I do want to know from you out there, as we ask for your thoughts, your opinions here, do you have a Real ID compliant driver's license? Your options here, yes, no, how can I tell? A lot of people have been asking me over the last several days, how do I know if I do actually have a Real ID? We'll have an expert join us in a second to help kind of break all that down for us. But if you do want to cast your vote here, just scan the QR code on the top right-hand side of your screen. Again, the question, do you have a Real ID compliant driver's license? You can pick yes, no, or if you don't know, how can I tell? I do want to bring in an expert to help discuss all of this here, so let's bring in Nick DeMauro, the CEO of Law Enforcement Against Drugs and Violence and a former New Jersey police officer and detective. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here today and help explain a topic that a lot of people are just trying to figure out at this point.
Yeah, good morning, Josh. Thank you very much for having me on. Yes, it's something that we've been dealing with. Remember where this came from? It came from the 9/11 Commission. After 9/11, we should never forget 9/11 and look at the recommendations for a standardized national identification program. And I think it's sound, but it's been a little confusing for all of us United States residents for many years because it's taken so long.
And can you kind of break down what a Real ID actually is and how it differs from maybe another driver's license?
Well, one of the things that it verifies your birth, it verifies who you are, where you're living, and it also, remember, passports are very are restrictive, so that's why passports are important for everyone to have. And even with TSA, when you get pre-check or you get global entry, you have to get fingerprinted. So I think it stops a little short of that, but it really needs to. You need to ensure the safety of this country. And we must never forget 9/11, and I think it's a good thing that we have a standardized identification.
So as you can see, they're going to push this out of national security, which most people want to feel safe, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel safe. But this ain't going to make you safe. This is going to limit your movements. This gives them your government, which means mind control. It gives them more power over your access to what you think is freedom. So they locking this place down. So you won't be able to move unless they give you the permission.
As we kind of continue to break all of this down, you touched on this already, but what problem overall is Real ID trying to solve for officials out there?
Well, I think it's we want to make sure that they are residents of this United States, and they can be found if needed.
Basically tracked. You can be tracked. Your movements, where you go, where you eat, what you do, how you do it, your Carmen. Oh, this thing is about to break it. We here. We at the day. Our Lord is on his way. Because we waiting for this prophecy right here. And what are the rest of you camps gonna say? Now, everything is being laid out that's leading up to this prophecy here, which brings in the Third World War, the War of Armageddon, right? Which also ushers in the second coming of our Lord Yahushua. Nothing goes down until the Lord brings upon planet Earth this hour of temptation, and we're man, are you not seeing what's happening right before you? And a lot of these camps like IUIC, they move around. They fly all the time. They always in and out the country, man. They moving around. What are you going to tell your members now in IUIC? You know, oh, we got to get this Real ID to travel now, to you know, move from state to state, but they go from country to country. You know, people going to start scratching their head. Real ID, RFID, hold on now. This is when the Lord going to start waking up the rest of the 1/3. You know, if there's some elect in these other camps, IUIC, ISUPK, you know, these are red flags. These are signals that we at the end. It's coming. This is Revelation 13, verse 16. And he calls it all. Remember, all got to have this Real ID. You think Jay-Z or Floyd Mayweather can fly without this? No, you got to go stay your ass in your motor vehicles and get it too. Just like with this RFID, Oprah, whoever, they got to have this Real ID. And this is a test run for what's really about to roll down. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bound, to receive a mark, which goes back to the word charagma, right? Which goes back to the word charax, which is the needle that puts the charagma, the actual device, into your skin. It's just a pinch. It takes seconds. They got videos on it. It's here. Now it's about to be made mandatory, like this is now being made mandatory. You see how fast time is picking up? It goes back to the scripture I started with over here. This is Ezekiel 12:28. Therefore tell them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. No more delay. Man, you're going to wake up and it's going to be chipping stations everywhere. And they going to be saying, look, man, you got to go to the supermarket with this device. You got to go. You'll be like, where the hell have been? You've been in La La Land, man. You've been in gross darkness. This thing is being set up right before your face. You know what I mean? People caught off guard right now with this Real ID shit. And it's been sitting around since 2005. We heard about this. They was really talking about 3 years ago when the C-19 hit. It was started harping on it more. But this no more delay. Things are moving fast. Therefore, tell them this is what the sovereign Lord says. And mind you, by the way, New Jersey got back orders for the Real ID now. Because they just put this all over social media. So people are really trying to run down there to find out. They saying they out of Real IDs. How the hell you going to be out of a damn star on your license? Just put a star on my damn license and let me go. They said the back orders are all the way up to September. So some people won't be able to move this summer, man. And good for their ass, because this is the time for the Lord's judgment, which is going to bring a lot of confusion, man. So therefore, tell them this is what the sovereign Lord says. No more delays, man. I will now do everything I have threatened. I, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, have spoken. And this is one of his threats here. The final prophecies. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bound, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell except he that had the charagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, okay? Which goes into, the beast, the mark, and the number. These are separate things, but they go together. But we just focusing on this charagma right now, okay? Because we going into this real ID, which also going to lead to the RFID, man. You won't be able to do nothing without this device if you ain't on Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah side. Straight up.
Verify where they're from, and what if for some reason we need to get a hold of them, we can get them. But I think it's a safety issue, and I think it really is problematic. And being a former police officer, I was presented with many different IDs, and the radar always went up when they didn't have a driver's license or they didn't have something with a picture on it. And it's become problematic. I mean, it's been problematic at the voting booth. President Trump has made an issue of trying to strengthen voter presentation when you vote. And I think this is all going to help with that.
Can you explain for folks out there how it really helps overall, how it maybe cuts down on people who are not American citizens, things of that nature? Can you explain that to folks out there who have so many questions?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, remember...
And they're going to use this whole border crossing stuff with Biden. Now you're going to find out why they opened the borders. This is when the T-isms, the lone wolves pop up, doing different events in America. Can you imagine if there was a Black Swan event this week? How they will push this even more. You will go with it because you're scared. They're going to use fear. Like what he's saying right now, it's a fear tactic. But they're going to need the fear. So they coming with the problem, action, solution, man.
You need to present. They're asking you to present a passport, proof of social security number, proof of residency, proof of who you are. And what you're about, and it's important. I don't know about you, but last year I flew 56 flights in the United States, and I want to make sure that the person sitting next to me is legit. I don't know about you.
Well, yeah, but you was okay for all those flights, but now you saying you want to make sure they legit. So these are the people that's going to go with the system. So you can, for Yahweh Ratazah, we the elect, we don't take it. We're going to be public enemy number one.
Privacy concerns overall have been raised about Real ID, and how is maybe personal information protected?
Well, I don't think we're releasing personal information. I think they're just verifying at the point of application. I don't think obviously where you live I don't think is a real personal issue. I think it's substantiated. And I think you need to be able to document where you live. I don't think that's an issue. But I think, if they start getting into, how much money you have on your Visa account, that could be problematic.
So as you can see, this is where we going. This is where we at. So I'm blowing a trumpet on this Real ID situation. It's going to lead to the RFID. And you think it's a coincidence that it's happening right now? Right now with everything going down, taking place, especially in New Jersey. They focusing on New Jersey. It's not a coincidence that it's taking place right now. So we months away from the action getting started, man. This is back in Ezekiel. Ezekiel 12. Ezekiel 12, I'm going to start from verse 21. The word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is the proverb that you have in the land of Yasha'Allah, saying, the days are prolonged and every vision faileth? Because some people don't think that this is going to take place. You just think this is a fair. Oh, these guys are bugging. They wasting their time on the street. They're bugging us. They just warmongers. Right? Fear mongers. You don't believe that this is going to happen, but it's going to happen and you're going to be caught off guard. Right? It says, tell them, telling you stiff-necked, stubborn, damn Israelites, because this word is to Israel first. Okay? It says, tell them, therefore, thus saith Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, I will make this proverb cease, meaning the Lord gonna stop your damn mouth. Everybody gonna be talking about the RFID chip real soon. Everybody gonna be talking about Jacob's trouble real soon. And then people gonna be wondering, is God coming back? That's gonna be the next big talk real soon. It says, tell them therefore, thus saith Yahweh, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Yasha'Allah. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effects of every vision, NLT. Tell the people, this is what the sovereign Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah says. I will put an end to this proverb and will soon stop quoting it. Now give them this new proverb to replace the old one. The time has come for every prophecy to be fulfilled. And we hear. So things about to pick up. The speed, the temper. So we moving forward with these prophecies. So hey, stay aware, blowing the trumpet on this. You can go, it's everywhere. It's on social media. The real ID is here. These people are panicking. They can't travel. They can't move. So the Lord is speeding things up, giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Shalom.